I finally got around to watching the 2024 horror film, Late Night with the Devil, and wow, what an awesome movie. The movie has an engaging and interesting storyline with excellent acting and an amazing build-up that really keeps you guessing up until the end. Speaking of the ending, it's wild, and much of the movie, it's really connected in these ways that you have to really put things together after you finish watching the movie. Now, in general, this is the best horror film I've seen this year in 2024, and probably the best movie even. In this review, we'll review and recap Late Night with the Devil. Late Night with the Devil centers around late night TV show host Jack Delroy, played by David Dasmalcoen. The first 20 minutes gives a brief backstory on Jack and his rise to fame, but also his struggle to catch Johnny Carson in the ratings. We learn Jack's wife has recently died from lung cancer, and the event has left Jack devastated. He takes some time off the show, but then comes back, although his show's ratings are really struggling once he returns. As a result, Jack and his staff plan a massive special Halloween night around the occult. Overall, I thought the movie did a terrific job around the night. The movie shows both the live episode being aired to guests, while also showing the behind the scenes when Jack and his staff are off camera. It could have been easy with only one set to have this movie really be boring at the beginning, but I thought the movie did terrific in the early stages just as well as it did later on in the movie. Now, it's almost impossible to discuss this movie without talking about the wild, unpredictable ending and the series of events the last 20 minutes. In the movie, Lily becomes possessed again with her head splitting open and a light coming out of it. I thought this was clever and really original writing presenting Lily this way. I watched a lot of exorcism movies, a lot of demonic movies with demons in them, and this was definitely a different way to present someone being possessed. Not to mention Lily, played by Ingrid Torelli, does a great job in the movie. I thought she was just creepy overall, even when she wasn't possessed, just the way she kind of acted. After Lily's possession, we see Jack has encountered the demon that possessed Lily earlier. Now, out at the men's club, the Grove, he makes a pact with the devil so that his show, Night Owls, becomes successful. Now, it's not clear or not whether he knew he was sacrificing his wife, Madeline, so that he could become successful, but his deal with the devil is ultimately what caused Madeline's lung cancer. Now, Jack ultimately has some sort of delusion, and believing he's putting his wife out of her misery, he accidentally stabs Lily in front of everyone. Both June and Carmichael, who's the skeptic, they're butchered as well by the demon, along with most of the staff. Now, the movie has some different theories and interpretations as to the ending, and even the directors, they don't come out and say exactly what happened. So I have one just regarding the ending. I think most of it is pretty clear, but one thing I just want to point out is that if you remember earlier in the movie, June was giving the background on the demonic cult that all died in the fire, and it was said that anyone who witnessed the event became demonically possessed. Now, the event, of course, was revolved around human sacrifice, and when Jack kills Lily at the end, I think that this was done so that the audience and viewers witnessed this ritual and thus ultimately became possessed. Now, the demon, and I can't remember its name, but it chose to have Lily on that show, and then also chose Jack as well to have them kind of meet, and that's why Lily was able to survive that fire. Now, one other great thing in the movie I thought too was the build up to the big finale. The first guest is a psychic, and although his section of the movie really wasn't scary, I still thought it was intriguing and it kept the viewer engaged, with the entire movie focused on this one night, this one event. It could have been really easy for the writers to bore the audience early on, and this doesn't happen though in this movie. It's presented in an interesting manner with good dialogue and excellent interactions between the characters. Now, the second guest on the show was Carmichael Hunt. He was the skeptic on the paranormal, and I thought this was a good call by the writers bringing him on, and especially one as talented as Carmichael Hunt. Hunt is extremely talented, and he spends most of the movie casting doubt on a lot of the strange activity happening. Of course, the third guest are Lily and June, which we know are going to be essentially the main event in this movie. Now, in my opinion, one of the most underrated things surrounding it as well was when Carmichael Hunt hypnotized the audience. This was brilliant to include it in this scene. It really added a lot of suspense. Many writers probably would have just focused on June and Lily once Jack brought them on. However, this scene is really great. It's tense. It also allows for a nice transition into that big finale. This is, of course, when Jack sees his wife behind him when they played back the tape. Also, I have to admit, when those worms began coming out of Jack's sidekick, I can't remember his name, the guy was getting hypnotized by Carmichael Hunt, and Hunt started acting scared. I actually thought this wasn't part of the hypnotism, and Lily was possessing him somehow, and this was actually happening. But of course it was not when they replayed the tape. Now, as mentioned, I thought this movie had it all. It was unique, mysterious, had terrific acting, great pacing, was never slow, was never dull. In addition, I also think that this movie can be watched multiple times and really should be watched multiple times because you'll be able to connect things more together. There's all these nuggets and hints around the movie you have to really think about to tie the events together from the movie. This is not the type of movie you finish and you just go about your day. It's one you're going to be thinking about trying to make those connections since the ending is essentially open for interpretation. In sum, I think this is the best horror film of 2024 so far, at least that I've seen, and probably the best movie overall.